This is Hino's Sport, bringing you that heat and that fire. All right, we're going to cover two topics in one in terms of boxing. We're going to talk about Keith Thurman and him basically being a disgrace to Florida and him basically ducking Errol the True Spence and Terence Crawford like the plague. And then we're going to talk about Abner Mares and his El Delusional and El Hipocrito self. Let me say it again. Abner Mares and his El Delusional and El Hipocrito self. First and foremost, Keith Thurman is on the plate. Shout outs to Ness. Shout outs to the Boxing Voice. Let me say it again. Shout outs to Ness and shout outs to the Boxing Voice. I actually respect that platform. One of the few platforms out there that I respect because he's not sitting here and having any affinities or ties to any boxing communities. He's just doing his thing. You know what I'm saying? And the cat is just sitting there and giving you his version of how he delivers the sport of boxing. Obviously, the Boxing Voice has been around, you know what I'm saying? And just like all of the other big platforms on YouTube, in terms of the boxing world, he goes out there and interviews the fighters. He does exclusive interviews. Now it's gotten to the point where his platform is big enough to have people call in on the regular. So he gets credit for that. But what I like about Ness is he puts you on the red carpet. He puts you on the red line and he asks the questions. And he asks the questions that a lot of people shy away from. You know what I'm saying? He asks those hard questions, just like the way Barbershop's Conversation does. That's why I like his platform as well too. You know what I'm saying? Just like Champside, I like his platform too. There's some platforms out there that I like. They ask the hard questions. You know what I'm saying? Showbiz the Adult, I love his platform too. I am a nomadic person, so I like a lot of different platforms. Fanon International Boxing Channel, love that platform. The brother is very intelligent and very financially business savvy. But this is about Ness and the Boxing Voice. And shout outs to my boy Ticket TV because he goes hard like he knows the sport. He's the only one besides he knows the sport that's out there ethering and murking cats. Our style is very similar, so I respect him from that standpoint. But this is about Ness and the Boxing Voice. He was asking Keith Thurman hard questions. But Keith Thurman was sitting there and dancing around those questions. You know what I'm saying? Always coming up with excuses. This is why, to me, Keith Thurman is a disgrace to the state of Florida. When I picked Keith Thurman to win the fight against Manny Pacquiao, I say he will AARP retirement Pac-Man style. I thought it was the original Keith Thurman. You better not duck me, son. Because if that Keith Thurman showed up, I had no doubts in my mind Manny Pacquiao would be on AARP retirement Pac-Man style. So maybe I overestimated Keith Thurman. But it wasn't because of the secondary fact that he's American. Yeah, if you're the American, I'm usually going to side with the American fighter over anything else. It's just the way that I am. A lot of folks out there, you know what I'm saying, see it that way too. You know what I'm saying? They just either don't have the gall to say it, but I've seen a lot of people have the gall to say it. But I'm going to say, yeah, I'm going to side with the American. But that wasn't the primary reason. The primary reason was because of the Florida ties. What people have to understand is cats that are from Florida, we tend to stick together, man. Let me say it again. Cats that are from Florida, regardless of the city from Florida that you at, it's just something about FLA, man. It's something about the gun level state, man. It's something about the way that the state is shaped like a gun, man. We always ready to eat them murk cats, man. Us Florida cats, we go hard. That's just how we are. So we gonna rock with one another. And when we recognize another cat from Florida, shout outs to EJ88, you know what I'm saying, Duval County in the house. When we recognize another Florida person, we tend to gravitate easily to one another. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? But Keith Thurman did not do any services, man. This guy is somewhere. And shout outs to my boy Wood Stay Real TV because he was mentioning it and I should have listened. I had a lot of my boys, man. Wood Stay Real TV, Uncle Donald Brown, you know what I'm saying, Claude Brown, a lot of my boys, man. You know what I'm saying, YC, JB, a lot of these cats, D, they were trying to talk me off the ledge, man. Hey, man, don't pick him, dog. You know what I'm saying? A lot of my boys, you know, Barbershop's Conversation, Ticket TV, they were like, what are you doing, man? Why are you sitting here and picking Keith Thurman? I did it off of the strength of my heart because I thought he was going to represent Florida to the T, man. But he put shame to Roy Jones Jr., shame to Wiki Wright. You know what I'm saying? Shame to Erislan Dillard. Shame to Luis Ortiz. Shame to, you know what I'm saying, Guillermo Rigondeaux. Florida products. He put a shame to the state, man. He didn't go in there. Antonio Tarver, that's another cat that's from Florida. Put a shame to these fighters, man. because he didn't show up and show out. Glenn Robinson, the guy that also knocked out, you know what I'm saying, Roy Jones Jr., another Florida product. He put shame to the state of Florida, man, because he didn't go in there and do his thing. Who tells you boxing 101 to go straight back in the back foot? I'm glad he said it, because I said it in the chat, and I had motherfuckers like, damn, boy, he knows the sport. You right, dog. And then Keith Thurman says it right after I said it. He was like, man, I fucked up, man. I went straight back. Ness called his ass out on it. I was like, man, did Ness read my comment? Or did Ness just come up, you know what I'm saying, with that shit off the top of his head? I'm not going to go as far as to say he read my comment. Maybe he was thinking the same thing that I was thinking. But he asked him the freaking question. And then Keith Thurman says it. He like, within minutes after I said, damn, man, I shouldn't have gone straight in the back foot, dog. Because that's boxing 101. When you're on the back foot and you're trying to evade punches, you go back, but you step to the left, dog. You got to pivot to the left. Elite boxers know this shit, and very, very good boxers know this shit. It's only basically what we would say average and low-level boxers that don't know this shit. They go straight back, because when you do that, when you have a fighter like Manny Pacquiao who punches in between bunches and who's very awkward with his style and likes to throw a lot of overhand punches, you can't go straight back, because you don't know if the overhand right or the overhand left is going to land on your ass when you're going straight back. I mean, it's just irresponsible. It's defensively irresponsible. And I notice a lot of cats are using my term defensively irresponsible, but it's defensively irresponsible for you to do that, man, because it shows that there's holes in your defense. And when Keith Thurman was like, oh, you know what I'm saying, that was a lie. When he said, oh, I like to take risks, I show different styles. No, you get hit because you do stuff that make you vulnerable in the ring. I told you guys, man, Keith Thurman has a back foot game that needs a lot of help. Because in the back foot game, it's like he's tripping on himself. It's not to the degree of a Timothy Bradley, but you see it, man. It's like he positions himself into the line of fire on the back foot. This is why he got knocked down by Manny Pacquiao. Other fighters that were not to the Manny Pacquiao level couldn't expose it because they didn't have the skill set that Manny Pacquiao has in terms of being able to connect with his awkwardness to land those shots. You gotta give Manny Pacquiao credit, and he did that. He did that effectively. But then you want to sit here and say, oh, I want to run it back with Manny Pacquiao's not focused on you. He's focused on Amir Khan or Mikey Garcia. You're done. He's not going to give you a rematch. You'll be lucky if you get a rematch. You should be focusing on Errol Terence Spence or Terence Bud Crawford. But you're sitting here avoiding these guys like the plague. Let me say it again. You're sitting here and avoiding these guys like the plague. It's like you don't want no free smoke from these cats. And it's ridiculous. You have so many excuses as to why you can't fight Errol Terence Spence or why you can't fight Terence Bud Crawford. I mean, it's ridiculous. Us as boxing fans can see right through that bullshit. Who do you think you trying to fool, Keith Thurman? That's why we call you Keith Runtime, aka Keith Ducktime Thurman. And don't you notice every time you come on a media platform, you always have to defend yourself? You wouldn't have to defend yourself if you're doing what you're supposed to do. What I said was so deep and profound. Let me rewind it because it needs to marinate in the corpus callosum and in the cerebellum, the medulla oblongata. Hear me and hear me well. When you're doing the right things and you're doing something right, you don't need to sit back and try to reinvent the wheel and try to think that you're going to do something or you're basically trying to prove yourself. You know what I'm saying? You don't need to be trying to prove yourself if you're doing the right things, because motherfuckers will gravitate towards that. The reason why you always feel that you have to be in defense mode and always feel that you have to prove yourself is because you're not doing the right things, man. And people can see that. They can see right through that foolery. So now you need 3 fights. So a Manny Pacquiao fight and then 2 tune-ups before you go fight an Errol Terence Spence and Terence Bud Crawford. It's clear when those names get brought up, and that's why I say shout out to Ness from the Boxing Voice. It's clear when those names get brought up, you get hot and bothered like grits. You get tight as fuck, man. Let me say it again. You get hot and bothered like grits and you get tight as fuck because you know these 2 guys will expose you. You already let your O go, so what else is there to lose? You gain respect from losing to Manny Pacquiao. How much more respect do you think you're going to gain from losing to Errol Terence Spence or Terence Bud Crawford? We know you're not going to win the fight, but if you go in there and put up a fight and make it arduous for either one of these guys, you still gain respect in the loss. This is not Sean Constipated Porter here. You're not a gatekeeper. Let me say it again. This is not Sean Constipated Porter. You're not a gatekeeper here in this scenario. You're ranked just a little bit higher than that. And people are going to respect you for that if you take the Errol the True Spence fight and the Terence Bud Crawford. Because for years, you have ducked. And people are sick and tired of that. Now, on to Abner Mares, man, because I'm going to ride for a little bit. Abner Mares needs to go sit down somewhere and higgity hush. Ain't nobody in the boxing world want to see him fight Gervonta Tank Davis. You had your one shot and it was done. Let me say it again. You had your one shot and it was done. We know you're a 118-pounder, dog. You had that first fight with Gervonta Tank Davis, but then you turned around and you ducked the situation. And you don't want to man up and admit it. You talking about my retina, my eye, I mean, and his ass was on the Boxing Voice right after Keith Thurman. It's like they brought one duck to the next. It was like duck season, dog. You know what I'm saying? That's why the title of this video is DuckTales. Woo! A double DuckTales. Woo! A double DuckTales. Woo! That's right, man. Another duck. You came in the last minute, in the last second, in the last hour with some retina excuse. Because first, Robert Garcia said it was your elbow. And then how did we go from elbow to retina? Last time I checked, the elbow is way down there where your arm is at. And the retina is associated with the eye. How do we go from elbow to the eye? Whose story is accurate? Yours or your trainer, Robert Garcia? Because you guys made so many excuses after excuses after excuses. Gervonta Tank Davis did all of this training so he could have his hometown fight against EO ass. Now he ended up fighting, you know what I'm saying, that dude, Ricardo Nunez, and he got vilified for that. Because it was a supposed low-level bum bash. But what these classic dotes and these troglodytes, the Rudy Poo and the Plum Plum branch, the ultra fanboys with the ultra fanboy rhetoric don't understand and they don't get for some reason, is that Tank Davis didn't fight Ricardo Nunez because he wanted to fight that guy. He was a step in because Abner Mares ducked. Because he knew he was going to get KO'd. You know what I'm saying? At least step on Nessa's The Boxing Voice show and admit that, man. That's the problem with these fighters, dog. They don't like to admit shit, man. Let me say it again. That's the problem with these new age fighters. They don't like to admit shit. Man up, dog. You wanted to fight. You didn't want to fight Gervonta Tank Davis because you didn't want that free smoke. The guy's a special fighter. He would have zigzagged your come forward style because we know your style. It's a bruising come forward Mexican style. And it was going to get knocked out. Because Gervonta Tank Davis has the Roy Jones Jr. footwork, but he has the Mike Tyson power. He's a mini mouse package of a fighter with special skill sets. Let me say it again. He's a mini mouse fighter package with special skill sets. This is why he's another polarizing fighter, just like a Errol the True Spence or a Deontay Wilder, because of what Gervonta Tank Davis brings to the table. No one has exposed him. He's undefeated. And we know the level of competition needs to step up, but he's doing that. He tried to fight Tevin Farmer, but this man ran his ass through so many excuses. Now all of a sudden, he want to move his ass up to 135 to go after Gervonta Tank Davis. When you refuse the $2 million offer that they were going to give you on pay-per-view money plus backing. You refused that. But the justification was $5 million DAZN money. $5 million DAZN money is not more than $2 million pay-per-view with back-end money. That's guaranteed. Pay-per-view money has been around forever. It's guaranteed money. These apps, these streaming apps, this is money that just started. So it's still in the test phase. It still needs to prove itself. That's the difference, folks. And this is what Abner Mares did. He ducked the situation. Now you want to get the fight back because you want that bag, dog. You want that money. Only a Rudy Poo and a Plum Plum brain can't see this. But the boxing world don't want to see this fight because we know it's a one-sided beatdown. As a matter of fact, this is a low-level bum bash fight for Tank Davis. Let me say it again. It's a low-level and bum bash fight for Tank Davis. I was one of them that said, man, this was going to be a good fight on his resume, etc., etc. But that was the first time. Because I didn't know that you lacked the cojones to step up to the plate and fight the man. Let me say it again. I didn't know that you lacked the cojones to step up to the plate and fight the man. And that's what you did at your truest and most prosperous levels. You evaded the guy. And we're going to sit here and act like you didn't do that. Now Gervonta Davis is going to sit there and waste all of his time to get back in training camp, work his ass out so that he could prepare to fight you, only so that you could duck him again. Man, if I'm Gervonta Tank Davis, I'm like, heck nah. I'm not fighting this dude. Because let's keep it a buck. The fight against Eucurious Gamboa is going to be a lot harder for him, even though he's going to flatline that dude, than Abner Mares. Let's keep it a buck, because at least Gamboa got some boxing skill set. He got the Cuban background and the Cuban pedigree. So he's going to come in there and do some things initially in the interim that's going to disrupt Tank Davis until Tank Davis figures his ass out. You have a clear style. It's a Mexican come forward style that's there to be tailor-made and figured out and picked apart. The Mexican come forward style has always been inferior to the black slickster style. Let me say it again. The Mexican come forward style has always been inferior to the black slickster style. I know this is going to get the Mexican community fan base hot and bothered like grits, but when has He Knows His Sport ever cared about those things? Because I come with what? Wholehearted, unadulterated, cutthroat truths. And the truth of the fact of the matter is, Abner Mares ducked Tank Davis. So keep it a buck, admit that. And if Tank Davis were to even think in his mind that he wanted to fight you again, then there needs to be a clause in there that says that if you duck him again, you're going to have to forfeit your purse. Let me say it again. If you duck him again and you come up with some lame ass excuse, you're going to have to forfeit your purse. Because Tank Davis can't lose twice out of this scenario. It doesn't benefit him. You made a last minute, last second, last hour excuse the first time, and now you're trying to do that again. And now you're having your Mikey Garcia moment. Oh, I see something in him. No, you see your ass getting knocked out. You see your face hitting that boxing mat. Let me say it again. Oh, I see something in him. No, you see your ass getting knocked out, and you see your face hitting that boxing floor, that boxing mat. That's what you see, man, at its truest and its most properest levels. And anybody that's using what we call the true boxing eye test knows this is a joke of a fight. No one wants to see it, man, because they know Tank is going to beat your ass up. It's really that simple. You messed up the first opportunity for this to be a build-up fight that people wanted to see. Now people don't want to see it, man. Because what's going to happen is if Tank decides to take you on, because you're the one that confronted him. People are sitting here thinking, oh, Tank is going to fight a guy that came from 118. No, he popped up and rolled up on Tank. It was like, yo, man, I want to fight you again. That was Abner Mares that did the same fuck shit that Mikey Garcia did with Errol the True Spence. Now, when you get your ass washed, double wash and triple wash, that will be on you and you alone. So Tank Davis is really on him to decide if he wants to take the fight or not. But if he does take the fight and your ass ducked once again, Tank should be able to take your fucking purse, man. That's fair, and that's what we call real. This is He Knows the Sport. Checking out.